back into a big support area. Liquidity is mostly concentrated to the upside. It should give us support, go all the way down to the bottom of the range. Yes, guys, I have to admit, yesterday I was wrong, and it will get potentially much worse from here. That is something that we're going to talk about. Let's go. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in here again. And yes, as I just said, I was wrong yesterday, but let's not forget that certain world events that have impact on the markets are something that we cannot predict. This situation with Iran and Israel was going on for a long time. It was at some point inevitable, but that it happened yesterday was something that nobody could actually predict. And of course, something like this has a global impact on the markets. We see this right now also here on the dollar index, pumping here again to the upside for the simple reason that there is still a lot of fear out there that Israel will retaliate tonight. One of the biggest oil refineries, oil manufacturing compounds in Iran. That fear mongering is of course leading to that people go out of risk assets and go back into the dollar, hence why we see here this move to the upside out of that bear flag here now above 101.5 points here on the dollar index. Also, when we look at the Bitcoin ETF flows, again, institutions were selling off because of what's happening with Iran. I expect today also negative ETF flows. Potentially by tomorrow they start turning slowly around. Regardless of the situation that is happening, guys, we should not forget that when something like this is happening, that this also brings opportunity with it, that we can buy things like Bitcoin and other things at a discount. And for that specific reason, you should still go to Bybit, deposit $100 and claim a free $500 airdrop position, because with these kind of entries that you are about to get potentially on any of these coins, we can make here a substantial amount over the next coming weeks, and actually now a little bit faster than we first anticipated. So go into the description, click the link down below or in the description to claim your free $500 position by depositing just $100 on Bybit. Now, what happened with Bitcoin? Bitcoin yesterday broke after the first missile was fired from Iran into Israel, under the super trend ribbon here, which is of course bearish. It also flipped now bearish here once again. It's still kind of in a flip situation. It has not completely flipped yet, but if the Bitcoin price cannot reclaim by tomorrow the $62,700 level, then this will flip bearish again, even though I believe that this will be brief and short-lived, and we will have more or less a situation like here. Just in terms of how we are going to flip, we had here proper short-lived red flip at some point. Yeah, here. So most likely something like this will happen over here, because once people have priced in the war and the fear left the market, people or things start to go back to normal in terms of price action. And so we will not see an extensive downwards trend now if every day new things are going to happen between Iran and Israel, unless one side sends some nuclear weapons onto their territory. So unless something like this happens, I don't expect Bitcoin breaking here much lower than from current levels. You can also see that here on the daily chart, we are currently back into a big support area between 60,000, basically 61,000 to $60,000. As long as this area is holding, we should expect a bounce back to the upside. If we lose this area here, then we are under 60K again and will most likely retest the $58,000 level. We should also not forget there is still a CME gap that now seems likely to be closed if we lose the $60,000 level. So also here, you see we are still absolutely within our trading range that we are now stuck in since March this year. A retest of the bottom region, again, all the way to the bottom. I am pretty convinced that we are not reaching all the way down to the bottom of the trading range, but here $59,400 and also a little bit lower than that here, $58,500. Could be something that we are tapping in before we get a bigger bounce back to the mid-range. The mid-range is still acting as resistance, as we saw over here, massive rejection, no matter the reason for it. And as long as we are not reclaiming this mid-range level and flip this into support, Bitcoin will remain range bound between $58,000 and $64,000. Now on the liquidation side, good and bad news. Good news is we cleaned everything more or less below us in terms of massive over-leveraged positions. There is, of course, here at 57,000 and 56,000, another cluster of over-leveraged positions. Again, I believe that this is quite unlikely that we are going to tap into this, but another retest of the 200 moving average could be in the cards here on the 4-hourly chart. A bounce from here back into the EMA ribbon to $63,500 with a small correction before we flip it then back to the upside and continue our October trajectory, even though right now we should rather call it Rectober. I still believe that by the end of the month we will be higher than we were in September at the highest point. But now everything got a little bit delayed. Also, the 50 moving average will act as resistance on the way back up. Also something that we should keep in our mind, that the $64,200 level, currently $64,200 level, will act as resistance when we try to come back up here. Also on the liquidation heat map, you see now liquidity is mostly concentrated to the upside. If I go here, you see if we want to go lower, the next highest concentrated area would be around $57,000. Again, I am not seeing anything happening unless they are threatening with nuclear weapons that we go all the way down here. Rather to the upside, all the way up here to $67,000, because now the highest concentrated area of liquidity is sitting above us and not below us anymore, because this was the other area here that we just cleared in the last 24 hours. Then here on the 12-hourly chart, another reason why I believe we could come a little bit lower is when we look at the volume profile, the VPVR. Currently, we are getting supported from this cluster here, coming in from $60,200 to $61,300. Lose this cluster and we risk to go all the way down to the point of control, $59,200. But like I said, worst case scenario, we are getting a bounce from here back to the upside. If we would lose this cluster let's say for whatever reason, losing the biggest underlying cluster here that should give us support, then we're definitely risking to go all the way down to the bottom of the range. But you see here Bitcoin is again bouncing a little bit back to the upside. We were here at $60,400 a couple of minutes ago, so now we are bouncing already $400 back. There is definitely also, you see here, here's some support in the $60,400 level. That's why we bounce back currently to the upside. So now the elephant in the room is still this rising wedge pattern. If we're losing the $60,400 level, we should get acquainted with the possibility that we definitely go lower, and most likely we'll go all the way down to $57,000 in perspective of the rising wedge. That would be a logical target before getting any substantial major bounce here back to the upside. But as long as we are holding this level here, we should be fine, and I'm also willing to take long positions from this specific level here. Now, the USDT Dominance is, of course, wrecking back to the upside. If Israel retaliates tonight, I expect that we are retesting the 5.89% level here, and only from there would get a rejection back to the downside. If a retaliation is not happening today, by tomorrow, I expect here a reversal candle to the downside, which will again bring relief to the markets. And then we just need to hope that nothing crazy is going to happen again on the geopolitical stage that could affect the markets. Because overall, we were on a nice trajectory to the downside. If we can put in here now a reversal candle for tomorrow, that would be extremely bullish for us. But we need to see if we're actually going to get that. The Bitcoin dominance is bouncing back to the upside from the bottom of that rising wedge pattern. Remember, guys, I warned you about this, that this can happen, that we could see a retest of 58%. But from there, also here, I expect a turnaround. Even if we wick above this slightly, I expect then that we finally break here to the downside and go into lower regions, which again will propel altcoins into higher prices. Ethereum got now a proper rejection from this downward sloping resistance line. Here also, from a candlestick perspective, this looks like continuation to the downside. Here, potential levels that we are testing could be $2,350, $2,340. But I want to also warn you, the indicators are already extremely oversold here. The stochastic will potentially put in a buy signal later. The stochastic, the RSI is also looking like soon to reverse back to the upside. And the MACD over the next 24 hours will most likely also print some fading selling pressure here based on these indicators. And this can also still turn into a reversal candlestick pattern if we would close as it is currently, but I would not open a position unless we are reclaiming $2,500. So only from there I would start opening positions, or if we are getting $2,350, only these levels I would be watching. Here on Solana, the original trade idea, of course, now got rejected, did not play out. We had our stop loss here in place, so you should have gotten out of this trade. And now I actually would place a trade like this. If we get another retest of $143.50 approximately, this here is a nice setup currently. Because once we are turning around, $155 will come in no time, and that will give you 8% profit here. So I believe currently this is a really good setup. And you see here that we got multiple times now support from this level, which makes it also quite unlikely that we're going to break that when you look at the wicks that we got here to the downside. Also something to mention again, guys, if you want to trade altcoins anywhere and you want to stand a chance to win $500 with ZoomX, then click the link down below, deposit $100, you stand a chance to win twice per week $500. Let's do this. Let's give away $500 right now. I just need to find here the right 28. Number 28, 1. So here, 278-938-720. Congratulations, you won $500 on ZoomX. You have 24 hours to reach out to info@amcrypto.us. If you don't hear from us, don't worry. When we see your email with a screenshot that this is your account number, we forward it immediately to the ZoomX team and they take it over from there. No, you don't need to message us in any shape, way, or form afterwards. They're gonna handle it, you know. So if you don't hear anything from them within 5 days, then you can again write an email. But otherwise, we don't need to hear anything from you. We get the message and we'll forward it directly to ZoomX. But again, congratulations to that user here that won the $500. If you want to be the next one, just deposit $100 with the link in the description, guys. That's all you have to do. To stand a chance to win here $500. And you see there are not a lot of people on the list, so your chances are quite high that you actually win here the $500. Now, really quick altcoins. If Bitcoin gets a small move to the downside because Iran gets attacked by Israel later, I expect that here Rune will move all the way down to the 200 moving average on the 4-hourly chart to $4.30. So I would look at an entry here because also here the candles currently look like continuation to the downside. Also with the stochastic RSI potentially turning around here, the MACD can give at any given moment continuation to the downside. Only the RSI is looking a little bit bullish by trying to turn around here. But if the stochastic is not turning around pretty soon, let's say in the next 8 hours, expect that we get continuation to the downside. Otherwise, if you're looking for a trade to enter at higher levels, I would only enter this there where I got stopped out yesterday. So I would enter this from here, $5, and then trade this into $6. So that would be my setup. Otherwise, if we go lower from $4.30 into $5.05, that would be the other setup. Now HNT was today actually pretty strong, I must say. After the initial dump, we got another pump back to the upside, but this got immediately hammered down again. Now we are here in that big demand area with the MDX algo indicator. Here, I would only re-enter at a reclaim of the 200 moving average here now in yellow. Once we are reclaiming this, I still believe that we can move here into $8.67. The indicators are about to bottom out on the 4-hourly chart. Also on the 12-hourly chart, we are currently bottoming out, which is also telling me that most likely here over the next 24, 36 hours, we see a turnaround on HNT. Then FDM also pretty strong in this dump here. You see here, we did not lose much in terms of price. Now, of course, we got rejected from the golden ratio. Now, how many times? 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 times. But also don't forget, the more we retest a level, the weaker it gets. And I would be not surprised to see here like a move like this to the upside in one single daily candle, especially with the indicators completely bottoming out here. Stochastic bottomed out, not a lot of bearish momentum on the MACD, and also the RSI already pointing to the upside, remained above 50%, which is extremely bullish on the RSI. Again, if Bitcoin gets a move to the downside, most likely also here to the 200 moving average, then for FDM, where I want to enter this into the 81-cent level. That's where I would take profit on this trade. So this is a 28.2% profit on this specific trade setup. It's enough if you trade this with 5, 6, 7x. You don't need higher leverage on that specific trade. If we are breaking up for some weird reason, then this will be the other setup that I would be looking at, with 32% to the upside and 11% to the downside. Again, not more than like 5x on a trade like that, and not insane big position sizing. So let's see what is going to happen first. If you want to enter here that higher level trade, then you need to wait for a 4-hourly candle close above 72 cents. Otherwise, I would not enter this. Then Fetch is currently in that support cluster that we spoke about. Here, I would also expect a potential slightly lower move into like $1.36. If we get this, then we can enter from here. The indicators are also telling me that we are about to bottom out in the next 24 hours. Hence, why I believe that there is a bigger chance that we get down in here. If not, then I would still enter from the bottom level at $1.42.6 approximately, and trade this into also here $1.80, which will give us a 26% return against the 31.6% return if we go a little bit lower. So these are the two trade setups for Fetch. Then Telegram also holding quite good here. Here I would also, first what we need to see is a reclaim of $5.55. I would not enter beforehand. You want to see that reclaim. It's not far away. It's like, what is this right now? There's like a 3% move. So we don't need to jump here the gun on the 12-hourly chart. The indicators are completely bottoming out here. So I would not risk to enter at any lower point unless we go all the way down to like $5.10. Then I would take a trade like this, 20% to the upside, tight stop loss of 3.64%. Here also 5 to 10x leverage, more than enough on that specific trade setup, but I would wait for a reclaim of the 50 moving average before I would entering this here. And then the other one, Render. Render, again, if Bitcoin moves a little bit lower, $5.36 becomes a logical target for me. If not, then above the golden ratio is the level where I want to enter for a 13.7% move with a 3.17% stop loss. But here, based on the indicators, I would expect on the 4-hourly chart at least a little bit more continuation, hence why I believe we could come all the way down to the 3.82 level and enter from here. And this we can potentially hold a little bit longer until we are back to like $6.70. But the first target will be $6.17 if we will get this. Let's see here the higher time frames. How we are looking on a 12-hourly chart. Yeah, also here we are about to bottom out. So either of these two setups are valid. You want to see on the on that level here at $5.35, if we get down here, at least 1 hourly close above that level before you enter. And here you want to see at least a 4-hourly candle close at $5.90 before you enter this. And guys, if you still want to trade on a decentralized platform, I can only recommend you go to AlphaX. There's also a link in the description. And there is still 57 users left that can get $100 if you sign up right now. So 43 did yesterday. So there's only 57 slots left for the first 100 people to get $100 for free to trade on Alpha X, guys. Go and sign up there and claim your $100 that we're going to distribute to you. And this is perfect if you are in the US or in the UK or in any other country where you cannot use Binance, Bybit, or whatever other exchange. So make use of that. You get $100 absolutely for free for using any of these exchanges. And guys, that's it already for today's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Please make sure that you smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell. And I hope that will be a little bit more right tomorrow.